It's the winter of 1942, somewhere on the frozen Eastern Front. A soldier huddles behind a snowbank. His fingers are numb, his breath turning to ice in midair. The metal of his rifle is fused to the skin of his palm. All around him is silence. No fire, no light, no warmth. Because even a single spark could mean death. Above the trench, the night sky glows a faint, ominous red from artillery fire far beyond the horizon. He reaches into his coat pocket, not for a weapon, but for a small metal box. Inside, there's a folded piece of steel and a tablet no bigger than a sugar cube. He lights it. A silent, blue flame appears. There's no smoke, no crackle, no smell, just heat. In that moment, in a world frozen solid, this soldier holds the smallest, quietest miracle of the war. This is the story of the Esbit stove, the invisible fire that saved countless soldiers from freezing to death. During the brutal winters of World War II, the snow didn't just blanket Europe, it buried entire armies. Temperatures dropped below -30 degrees Celsius. Rations froze solid. Water turned to ice inside canteens. Soldiers quickly learned that the enemy wasn't just human. It was the cold itself. Lighting a campfire to melt snow or warm your food wasn't an act of bravery. It was suicide. A single plume of smoke could be spotted by enemy aircraft miles away. Artillery would find you before the water even started to boil. This left soldiers with a deadly paradox. How do you survive the cold without ever lighting a visible fire? The answer came from 1930s pre-war Germany, where engineers were already tackling this very problem. A small company called Esbit, short for Erich Schum's fuel in tablet form, developed a revolutionary idea: solid fuel tablets. Instead of messy kerosene or dangerous alcohol, they created compact cubes made of a chemical compound called hexamine. When hexamine burned, it produced a hot, steady, and smokeless flame that was almost invisible to the naked eye. It left no residue, no smell, and no soot. Just pure, silent heat. To go with it, Esbit designed a tiny folding metal stove with 2 steel wings that opened like butterfly blades. It weighed less than a can of soup, fit in a pocket, and could be set up in seconds. By 1936, the German Wehrmacht had adopted it. For pilots, mountain troops, and infantrymen on the front lines, this pocket-sized stove became as essential as a rifle. It was the difference between life and death. The beauty of the Esbit stove was its brutal simplicity. It had no moving parts, no pumps to break, no fuel to leak, and required 0 maintenance. A single tablet burned for about 15 minutes, just long enough to melt a cup of snow and boil half a liter of water. 2 tablets could heat a full meal. The hexamine fuel burned at around 700 degrees Celsius, producing a faint blue flame that was nearly invisible at night. Unlike wood or liquid fuel, it didn't need much oxygen to burn, so it worked in the thin air of the mountains, deep inside snow shelters, and even in sealed bunkers. The tablets were waterproof. Soldiers could drop them in snow, wipe them off, and they'd light instantly. And perhaps most importantly, they produced no smoke, no trail, and no light for enemy snipers to target. It was the perfect stealth stove. Imagine a German soldier in 1943, somewhere near Stalingrad. His squad is hunkered down in a shallow trench, dug into the frozen mud, with snow piled shoulder-deep around them. He opens his small tin box, unfolds the stove's wings, places a small white cube inside, and shields it with his hands. Within seconds, the faintest blue glow appears. A few minutes later, the snow in his tin cup starts to boil. He stirs in a bit of coffee powder and a spoonful of condensed milk. That single, hot sip of coffee might be the only thing that keeps him alive through the night. To an outsider, it's just a tiny flame. But to those soldiers, it was hope made visible. The Esbit stove didn't stay a German secret for long. Allied soldiers started finding them in captured gear and abandoned trenches. British commandos and American mountain units were stunned. Nothing in their own kits could match its reliability and stealth. Soon, elite units like the British SAS and US Rangers began carrying them too, whether they were captured, copied, or improvised versions. Behind enemy lines, these pocket stoves kept men alive without leaving a trace. No heavy fuel drums, no telltale smoke, no revealing light, just silence and survival. Soldiers, being endlessly resourceful, found countless ways to improve it. To protect the flame from wind, they'd dig a small pit in the snow or use a helmet as a windbreak. Some bent scraps of tin into reflectors to focus the heat under their cup. Others used snow pits or ammo boxes as makeshift ovens. Inside tents, the stove became a secret comfort, quiet, hidden, and safe from enemy eyes. In a war fought with bombs and bullets, sometimes survival came down to something small enough to fit in a coat pocket. When the war ended, the Esbit stove faded from the headlines. The world remembered the tanks, the planes, and the atomic bombs. Not a little metal box, but adventurers and mountaineers didn't forget. The exact same Esbit design is still sold today, almost unchanged, nearly 90 years later. Militaries still pack them in survival kits. Rescue teams keep them in lifeboats, and hikers carry them in case all their modern gadgets fail. The soldiers of World War II learned a timeless lesson. Survival doesn't depend on complexity. It depends on reliability. The Esbit stove was proof that the smallest tools can make the biggest difference. Even today, when power grids fail, batteries die, and technology collapses, that tiny blue flame still burns, unchanged, unstoppable, and unseen. Because sometimes, survival isn't about what's loud or powerful. It's about what's quiet, clever, and always ready. If you enjoyed this story of forgotten wartime innovation, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Forgotten Survival, because history's smallest inventions often carry the biggest lessons in human endurance. Thanks for watching.